near midnight, and this is the 3rd of March 21, and this is a little upload to commemorate marriage and basically to discuss the issues caused when human rights violations are in the mix, as well as hate crime. So as I've mentioned in a previous upload, when two people come together and decide consciously and sober to consummate and conceive, that's usually fantastic. This upload is with regard to my experiences since that chapter in my life began, and basically how a circumstance has arisen that from a very productive, very contented, and a very fulfilling life experience to the present circumstances of having human rights violations occurring and other issues surrounding hate crime, which we know is an offence against the state. Having those two very different experiences as a consequence of nuptials is not usually anticipated by the modern lady, woman, female. The matter I'm raising in this upload is with regard to the circumstances for women around the world, as qualified or unqualified, whether well-to-do or whether not, it doesn't make a difference. When two people come together and decide to consciously and sanely decide to have a family, then that's pretty important. And when that is disrespected, especially for a woman that would be qualified and of a clean track record and of expectations, positive expectations as a mother and as a professional, when nuptials change from that perspective into an onslaught of assaults and wrongdoings, like I've mentioned in my impact statement, and that are common knowledge, and people being outrageously disrespectful towards faith and family. It's highly, highly insulting and really, really disrespectful to new life and to old. Ancestry is important to some people and not so to others, and faith is important to some people and not so to others. But when people impose and make a mockery, as I'm experiencing, of my family and private life, then that really lowers the standards, and that has been happening in this situation. And it's really, really outrageous that a qualified teacher that has overcome what I have overcome in the past and had moved on, and for the fellowship I am ever so grateful, and the fellowship knows that, but the point of moving on from that, and 15 years later for the same culprits to intrude upon a marriage and a family life, and to be imposing and to be stealing from my fortune, my body of light, my beautiful child, that is a huge, huge disrespect to women and women's rights. So at the moment, my privacy and private life, while healing from medical negligence and bodily integrity damages, I'm like a broken record. But this is happening, and I'm waiting 3 years for ombudsman to locate my son. And the fact of the matter is that what is happening is abhorrent, And for any woman to be tolerating people trying to get their claws not only on my child and my wealth is substantial, and I'm on minimum at the moment. But the point of having a child is priceless, being taken from you, that's horrendous. That is what has happened. And that is not an issue that people have displayed much of a conscience about. So the point of the matter is, when people try to destruct a human life and try to decide about a woman's qualifications, earnings, credentials with their lies, it's really, really, really serious for all women. And the people that have intruded and that have damaged family life and faith, and that have publicized and made a mockery, and that have stolen so much, that's not good. And that doesn't make anyone safe, especially with sacred light. And I know now where my sacred light is at this moment. I know who has stolen my sacred light, and I have always known where my child has been where he shouldn't have been, and I am aware of the betrayal I've experienced. So this is what I'm tolerating as a mature, competent, independent, qualified, professional adult. And I don't like my privacy being perverted, and I don't like people discussing me, and I don't like people causing problems in society where there weren't any problems. So these are the things that are happening in my married life. And as I'm still a married woman, experiencing defamation, treason, financial abuse, financial theft and exploitation, this entire situation is really a poor reflection on all women. They say the only time you should be looking down on the person is when you're lifting them up. And unabashedly, I can say I've lifted up. And there are women that have put down, and they have had no shame. And I am really concerned for women of all ethnicity with regard to civil society and civil liberties, and any women of civil developments, democracy, humanity, that this is happening to Maria McElligott because of hate crime, because of people wanting to stand on my turf and to sit on my wealth and to proclaim themselves as gurus with my spiritual light, while they've masqueraded a controversy and worse with slander. And I don't like people not only not talking about me, or just even talking about me, but not talking respectfully or honestly. Slander is dangerous, and people walking into other people's homes and slandering is very dangerous. So I'm wondering what the relevant agencies, organizations and authorities think of such a repulsive situation for a married mother, and especially with regard to my son. It's really very serious. So I hope the United Nations is looking at this, and in particularly all women, with regard for civil society and democracy and women's rights. There's a really, really disgusting situation occurring, and I have application procedures in place for the past 3 years, and obstructions of justice are very dangerous also. So married life is being disrespected, motherhood has been disrespected, privacy and professional life and purpose have been disrespected, health and body, these things have all been disrespected because of hate crime. So those people that haven't a conscience and that are displaying really rude behaviours towards a qualified, independent, competent woman, what does that say? For all women, those enjoying my wealth, it comes at an awful cost. and I'd like to know where my son is and those standing and stepping on my turf. This is Maria McElligott from Tralee, County Kerry, experiencing human rights violations because of hate crime and imposters.